Swanson, Design a Life. Design a Life, Brian Swanson.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and distinguished guests. There's this wonderful quote by Jim Rohn that says, we all have two choices in life. We can either make a living or we can design a life. And I feel like too many of us are just making a living. We wake up early in the morning to that angry alarm clock that wakes us up, we want to smack that thing right off the end table, and some of us even want to strangle it. But responsibility calls, because we have people to take care of in our lives, we have bills that we have to pay. So we get ready in the day. We get dressed, we dust off our clothes, we check our hair one last time in the mirror. Then we hop in that car and we proceed to work 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week at a place we may not want to be. And I'm currently in that same position. I'm currently making a living. What I'm working on is designing a life. And that's what I'd like to share with y'all today. Now, how do we go about transitioning from making a living to designing a life? Well, first, I believe it begins with a simple brainstorming session. So this is something that's obviously not new to anybody, but I believe you need to put pen to paper. You need to let your ideas about what you think your life is spill onto the page so that you have something to look at and something to reflect upon. Now, once you have those ideas on the page, it gives you those items to be able to filter through. And when you have those, I suggest you take a moment to look at each one of them and really ask yourself, is this something you see in your life's design? And if not, immediately mark through it. Do not waste time with any of those items. And then consolidate that list down, because there's 100 or 1,000 things that we'd all like to do, but really we need to work on a core few of them. And so we want to try to get that list down to maybe half a dozen or a dozen. And then from there, we can start to experiment. And we can work on those ideas one bit at a time. Now what I do is I work on them through a 90-day process. And this helps by eliminating something that may take years in the process. Now I don't know about you, but have you ever worked toward a goal for maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years or longer, and then you get there, and then all of a sudden you're like, this isn't it. This isn't what I thought it was going to be like. Here I am. I've spent 5 or 10 years of my life or longer, and it's just not what I thought. And so this is where the 90 days kind of comes into that evaluation process to really see if it's something that we want to do. So in my house, I have a dream board. And on this dream board, I have a sailboat. And the sailboat signifies that I want to sail around the world someday. Now the funniest thing about this is it's been on there for 2 years. And I've never stepped foot on a sailboat. For real. So I've got this every day that I can look at and dream about and wonder about and think, oh yeah, I'm going to sail around the world one day. When I may get on that boat, I may be puking over the side because I turned seasick. This is ridiculous. Maybe Mai Tais on a beach in Tahiti isn't really what we all want. So through my 90-day process, how can I take this idea of sailing around the world and begin to act upon it? Well, maybe I can go out to Canyon Lake and I can experiment for an afternoon in a sailboat with a guide. And then I could determine after my day or my trip out there with the guide, is this something I really want to do? I might know right away when I get to the boat, this is not it. I don't want it. And then I can go home on my short list and I can mark through it and begin to work on something else. But instead of leaving it up on my board for a couple years, I can walk over to that board, grab it, that picture, take it, and throw it in the trash and move on to something better. And then from there, I can take it a little bit further and go out to the Gulf of Mexico and really get into a true simulation of what it would be like to sail. Get far enough out there so that you can't see any land. I mean, I might see an oil rig or a couple of thousand, but I think you get the point. The waves will be choppy, and it'll really give me that true sense of what it would be like to be out there in the open water. And I may be exhilarated and say, yes, this is it. So this allows me to warrant another 90 days of research and be more aggressive in my approach to designing my life. Now, life is short, and we all die a little each day. And time is the most valuable commodity we have. Now, I'd like you to take a moment and close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to do something that's a little eerie and a little scary for a few. But please close your eyes, everyone. And imagine that you're on your deathbed. And your life is flooding back through your mind. All the images. Everything you've ever done. Take a moment and let all that sink in. And I have a question. Did you make a living, or did you live a life by design? Mr. Toastmaster.